where should you draw the line between education, entertainment, and business when it comes to teaching English as a foreign language? And so,
Mm,
what's your opinion about that? Because people are doing those three areas are like the
mm.
main areas I see. The people who are just like hardcore academic, and then there's entertainment, which is where YouTube kind of usually falls in, but then there's the business element of all of that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think when it comes to any of these areas, you can become too much of one of them.
Mhm.
Like one of my friends, she's just finished doing a PhD, and her PhD was related to using AI. No, not AI. I'm lying to you. Augmented reality.
Uh-huh.
So
They are.
AR, that's one. My brain just couldn't get the acronyms right then. Augmented reality, AR, and virtual reality. So these two different things, and using them to teach English. So that was what her PhD was about. And she was telling me that a lot of the people that she worked with and studied with, they had been in academics all their life. And they just couldn't see past academics. Like their life lived and breathed academics. Some of them, she told me that some of them didn't even want to have relationships. Like they had let relationships go, like left boyfriends and so on because they didn't want them to interfere with their research. They were so dedicated, which is great for them, you know. But then what happens is they kind of lose this, they lose what's going on outside. They lose what's going on YouTube, for example. So I think when they see stuff on YouTube, I get the impression that they think that we're just like these idiots that come like bumbling in making videos. Like, oh yeah, we're not really teachers. We're just here for the YouTube ad revenue and that's it, which
Yeah.
isn't a lot. So if anyone wants to create a channel for the YouTube ad revenue, then YouTube teaching is the best one. Choose like gaming or business. They're the
Yeah.
most lucrative niches. But I think they really do think that, and a lot of the comments I've received also reflect that. So I once had like a whole group of these people on Twitter saying like they were commenting on my education and they were doubting my education and they were saying things like, oh, someone with a master's degree would never make a video like this. Guess who has a master's degree? Um, so I was like, why are you commenting on my education? And why are you saying things like, oh, if you had a master's degree in English teaching, you would never say any of these sorts of things. And they weren't saying it as like, oh, you have one, so why are you saying these things? They were saying it as like, you don't have one,
Yeah.
so you're not as smart as us. That's what they were getting at. And I just think that they are so focused on education and they really do think that they're better. I mean, like, I'm talking about specific people, not everyone. Don't cancel me. Like specific people, they really do think that they are better than people because they have this education. And I don't think they are. I think, we all offer something different. When it comes to YouTubers, it can also go the other way. So it can go to a point where it's a little bit clickbaity and almost damaging. And you can, because you have such a huge audience, you can send out some quite dangerous messages. So things like, I don't know, saying like a certain accent is bad, or saying that certain non-standard forms are uneducated, for example.
Yeah.
So a lot of people may watch that and think, oh, well, if I learn a Cockney accent, maybe they're an English learner, they love the Cockney accent, a random accent. They love the Cockney accent, and then they watch this YouTube video And then they're like, oh, but this teacher said that if I speak with a Cockney accent, I'm uneducated. That must mean that everyone who speaks with a Cockney accent is uneducated. And then you're going to think that every time you meet someone with a Cockney accent, you're going to be like, oh, well, they're uneducated. Oh, I don't want to learn Cockney anymore because I don't want people to think I'm uneducated, you know? So I hope no one clips that. Takes that out of context.
Take that out of context.
Yeah, just to upload that little clip, like,
but you know,
people are uneducated.
Like, I absolutely agree with what you said. I also like think that it is important though to give students context around like how society views groups, even if that position taken by society is unjust. You can highlight that it's unjust, but the reality is that there are stereotypes about certain groups. And like, so I mean, if someone's just like a elementary like A2 B1 student or something, then that doesn't matter. But if they're, you know, higher level, and then that might be something I think they need to know too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so people can be real touchy about that stuff.
They can. That's something that I've had. I would say out of all the comments that I've received, being told, why are you teaching this specific variety and not XYZ varieties? That's the biggest thing that I get. And it's like, I try to focus on as much as I'm comfortable with teaching. I would love to be able to do a Californian accent, I don't know, a New York accent, a Boston accent, a Texan accent. I would love to. I would love to be able to do an Australian accent, South African. I'd love that, but I can't. So I'm not comfortable with teaching these things. So when people come to my channel for the first time, they're like, oh my gosh, she's perpetuating this like British English, like received pronunciation. I don't even speak with received pronunciation because only 2 to 3% of people speak with received pronunciation. So there's a very small chance that I'm going to speak like that. But it does seem to be like the biggest comment I get. And it's like, look, that there are other teachers. There's a South African teacher there who's teaching pronunciation. Go watch their stuff. There's an Irish teacher. Go watch their stuff. Like, I'm just teaching one. Don't put all, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like, don't put all the responsibility on just one person. That's really unfair. Really, really unfair. You wouldn't expect, like, I would never go to your English lesson and be like, I want to learn Irish English. You'd be like, well, go find an Irish teacher then. You know.
Yeah, it would be like going to a jazz musician and being like, play hip hop or something different. Play, I don't know, American country.
Yeah. Again, it comes back to that whole like people expect English teachers to do everything. They expect us to really do everything, and we can't. We're only humans. We're not like ChatGPT.
Which even makes mistakes too.
True, yeah.
So yeah, that line is hard to draw between education and entertainment and business. But you know, some of your comments today show that we're in alignment on those things too, where you said like, you know, the revenue from YouTube shouldn't be the motivator here.
No, there's not much of it. It really disappointed, my friend.
So that's why I feel like YouTube has to be just like one piece of how you attract people, get their attention, develop the connection with them. And so, yeah, so some people who are just getting started, just like, hey, I know some stuff and I'm putting it on YouTube. That's like a great way to fuel the passion, but then you have to connect that to something else. Otherwise it's just a bunch of videos on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you're working on your course, launching your course right now, and that's your connection. Like you have the audience, you have the course. It's not just YouTube rules my life. You brought up the example like, oh, if the person is putting out garbage and then they're trying to sell you a course that's not going to teach you anything, then that's not good. And so like that plays into this like blurred line between business and education, right?
True. Yeah, that's a really interesting one. Healthy competition between teachers I mean, I've felt, maybe again, I'm lucky. I'll speak from my own experience, that I've observed other things that are not so healthy. But for me, it's always been about, like, especially early on with Facebook, like being in groups and learning from teachers and competing in the sense that, like, I want to try this also or make it better, and, like, just kind of like bigging each other up along the way. But again, I feel like I've been really fortunate. Maybe not everybody has that experience, and maybe now I definitely see now with algorithms changing or whatever. I mean, I'm a co-admin in the biggest by far Facebook group of English teachers, especially international English teachers. And if I put up a question or something, it goes into like 4 people's feeds, 350,000 members. It's not a page, it's in group. And that's because we don't do anything that Facebook wants us to do with trying to promote it and everything else. So it used to be, right, you could really get a lot of almost instant feedback. So maybe it's harder now. But anyway, I'm digressing a bit from the question. So healthy competition, I think, is, maybe it's easier to talk about unhealthy competition, but healthy competition is more about like either direct collaboration, where you're not competing, but there's a little bit motivation to see, like, how many people are going to be into your thing because you're doing it with these people or those people, or it's not collaboration, but it's again, just motivated by seeing somebody else do, getting more views, doing a certain type of video, and saying, okay, maybe I want to try that. Not change who I am, not be someone I'm not, but I want to, like, compete in a way that's sort of doing my thing, but maybe using this technology this way that this person's doing. Unhealthy competition, again, because I'm not out there really looking and trying to kind of, seeing how many views I have and trying to make it more in the digital space. I thought about it for a bit, and now I'm not. I mean, again, but definitely the unhealthy competition is, people just stealing other people's ideas, or being like, overly critical as a way to get attention to what they're doing. When it's the worst kind of hating, right? When they're not creative enough to do their own thing, so they're messing around, kind of bullying somebody else, to try to make it look like they know more, that kind of thing. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
No. I think that hit it, hit the nail on the head. Coming back to YouTube, do you think it's more of an education platform or an entertainment platform or a business platform? Because I see people using it, I mean, I guess ideally for all 3 purposes, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's all those things and more. It just depends on what you want at any time, So, I mean, YouTube, I think, is like the second most popular search engine after Google. It may have even overtaken Google itself as just as a search engine itself, because sometimes people, whatever they're looking for, they'd like it to be presented to them in a video.
I recently saw an article with the data that showed that people are searching now more on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. So they're searching within social media platforms more than on search engines. And this is mostly about like Generation Z, millennials, that they've made this shift. And so for businesses, it's like SEO on those platforms is just as important as for your website now.
Yeah. And SEO is also obviously very important on YouTube. It's one of the things.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that people get bogged down by, and then it's a reason that they don't start, because there's so many different strategies and different ideas, and people feel like if they don't understand it all, then they can't really get started. But yeah, I mean, I suppose if you were, I guess it's important to understand, to know if you're making a video for education purposes or if you're making it for entertainment purposes, because obviously it'll be very different. But also from a search engine optimization point of view, for an education video, you're probably going to want to target specific keywords, relating to your topic, whereas entertainment, then you just want to grab people's attention to entertain them. The specific keywords not so important. But then again, I think all of those things sort of, there's no fine line between education and entertainment on YouTube. Because if you make an education video and it's not also entertaining, and no one's going to watch it, they'll find another video. There's so many YouTubers now teaching English that it's not like it's almost impossible to find a topic that no one's done before. Yeah. Back when I started, I was pretty much the first person to make videos about phonetics, and so that's partly that's partly why I became successful. But yeah, nowadays it's so much harder to find something new. So you've got to do something better. So you have to be as entertaining as possible.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get lost in this void between education and business, because even the viewers, even the students, they go there and they want this educational value when they're learning English. And yeah, they'd love for it to be entertaining. So sometimes we see that a more entertaining person will be bigger and more successful on the platform than someone who is maybe a better educator or teacher. But then the business element, it's kind of this thing where people expect the educators not to do business, or a lot of the educators themselves kind of view business as like a dirty word. And so there's this difficult area to navigate between education and business sometimes.
But what do you mean by business on YouTube? You mean people,
like, for example, we take a giant channel, like 5 million subscribers, and they have their courses, their products, and the things that they're selling, in addition to putting out educational videos, right? So someone might go there as a subscriber just to get the educational content, but then they see these offers, and then do the offers actually help the student? Do the offers actually get them the result that they wanted? Or, these kinds of questions. So maybe they followed that person because they wanted to be educated, but now here they are buying products, and it's like another element of the same creator, same business, but that line, sometimes people don't like it. Like, how many times have you seen somebody goes through, there's something offered for free, they go through it, and at the end there's an offer, and then they're like, you said it was free, right? This feeling.
Yeah, well, it's the typical sales funnel type thing. You have your free stuff that you put out and you should get seen by a wide audience, and then you have them click through to a free presentation, and then some of those will buy the products at the end, at the end of it. But people have to make a living. But then again, there are a lot of teachers just making videos on YouTube and on social media on the side, and they're not really. Maybe they make a little bit, but not necessarily. They're not necessarily living off it. I mean, so I'm not living off of it 100%. I'm hoping to. I'm having another sort of push now, and I talked earlier about how I've had different chapters where I've had tried out different strategies, and so I'm sort of entering one of those now, where actually. Yeah, so I mentioned that I started this video production company with two of my friends years ago, 2006 that was. I'm actually gone back to them now as a client, and instead of doing all the video production myself, I'm going to hire them to do the post-production and editing and designing everything that's going on in the background in my videos.
Amazing.
Yeah, because it was getting to the point where by the time I'd sort of written the video and done the filming and everything, by the time it got to editing, I just wanted to get it done. Yeah. And whereas that's a point where, because I can now hand over to them at that point, they're able to then start, with a whole sort of fresh eyes and new enthusiasm, and inject another level of creativity. Exactly. Into it. So I'm hoping that's going to make a really big difference. I think by the time this podcast goes out, the first few of those will be live. So
awesome. Then we'll have to include a link to it under this episode. Definitely.
Great. Yeah. The first one of that new chapter is a video I'm doing on state verbs.
Okay.
So you'll see the difference between the videos before the state verbs video and after the state verbs video.
So I guess that's where the next question comes up. Like, where do we draw the line then between education, entertainment, business? Because we see a mix of that on YouTube and on the internet overall. Some people are on there teaching lessons, straight up just a lesson. Some people just record a lesson and throw it on there. Like, okay, that's education. But entertainment, there's a lot of videos like in these ones, I think, that we've been talking about now. Don't say this, don't say that. You know, some people are correcting other people's mistakes, calling them out. It's entertaining. And then some people are saying, hey, I can teach you English, just buy this course. And so we've got this mix of stuff happening there. Where do we draw the line?
Okay, so we have three things. We have education, entertainment, business. Maybe we talk about the business aspect of it because, you know, unless we're volunteering for the Peace Corps, it's a business for everyone, right? It's a business for me, it's a business for you. And, you know, it's just our business. And I think it depends on what your business wants to be. Like, do you want to be entertaining or do you want to be educational? That, I guess, is where it is. As far as
but I would say that a lot of educators tell themselves and tell other people, I'm not here for the money. This isn't a business. They think of themselves as very far removed from business, even if they are selling themselves to a school to teach at that school, then they're selling themselves and selling their time through that school. Even if they teach students one-on-one, a lot of them just refuse to identify at all with this word business.
Right. I mean, and you might not be in a business, but you get, like, you could be a teacher working for a school. You're still getting a paycheck. You're still not going there and doing it free every week. I mean, and so at the end of the day, when we spend our time and do the, you know, make the effort to actually create something to then put on the internet or a lesson plan, or if I'm talking one-on-one with somebody, you know, we're doing that at the end of the day for a paycheck or for business or whatever. Now there are people, and this comes to where I come in, is I now like doing this. So therefore there can be an enjoyment in doing it. But if I made $0 in it, I probably would go back to politics because, you know, I got to pay for the roof over my head and the electricity and everything like that. So at the end of the day, it is a business. But now what is the difference between entertainment and education? I guess you can look at it as, you know, the value you get from something. Okay. And maybe the accuracy of that value. So,
if I do a fluency dance on TikTok,
right,
is that education or entertainment?
Well, no, I mean, like, I mean, it's, I guess you're it depends on what you're looking at it for, right? I would say it's more entertainment. I would say entertainment is something where, are you receiving educational value from it? You might be receiving knowledge from it, but is it going towards some goal? So like, I will get into, you know, this long, you know, I'll watch something on YouTube. So recently I've been watching these channels about these guys who are scuba divers who try to solve cold cases by finding cars that they think might have gone into lakes and find the people who were in there. And I get into this and I'm learning about the process and what they do and all that. And it's entertaining, but it's not like I'm now going to use this and then go out and become a scuba diver and do it myself. I'm not gaining any expertise on this subject. I'm gaining knowledge on it. And I guess I kind of relate this, and I have always, to the Olympics. How many people, when you watch the Olympics, are all of a sudden an expert in curling? Okay, like you're watching Olympics, you see curling for the first time, and then by the end of the Olympics, you know all the rules of curling. but then you stop watching the Olympics and you don't know those rules anymore. Doesn't mean that like you gained the knowledge from entertainment. It wasn't that you gained the knowledge from wanting to learn something. And this is, I think, the difference between education and entertainment is oh, go ahead.
Can I interject here? Because then like I can try to make a logical conclusion then that if entertainment material content, entertaining content inspires you to action, does that make it educational?
I think it makes it inspirational, maybe not educational.
Okay.
Right. So, you know, when I grew up, I wanted to be an airline pilot. Okay. That's why, or an astronaut. Okay. I mean, I guess, and this is another thing too, that I guess I can talk about being a Gen Xer, is that, you know, you get these trolls who go on YouTube and everything and make all these remarks. Generation X people just have this reputation of just not caring what other people think about them. And so, yes, doing the political stuff, it made it that it gave me a very thick skin, but it's also from my generation that when people say all of these things under my video, it's like, oh, my generation really, we didn't grow up in an influencer generation or whatever. So to me, it's more important to make sure what's out there is right. And yeah, at that point, is it educational or not? Like, I would say that my lessons that I do are purely educational. As far as my videos that I do, I wouldn't say, I mean, I'd say some of them are educational. The whole idea is to do that, but I wouldn't, and maybe there needs to be another category in there, like almost like infomercial or information, that it's like you're not trying to be entertaining, but you're also not necessarily trying to do a full-blown course on the difference between you know, past simple and present perfect if you're talking about something that is recently finished, right? And I think that might be the difference. And I think my videos are going more toward the genre of being informational and guiding you in directions where you can get the right resources from a native's point of view to then give to people.
Yeah, and people are seeking these things, right? Education, information, entertainment too. A lot of people, and I think that that's one of the things that's come up a lot inside of the discussions in the English teaching industry, or at least related to YouTube, is, you know, there's people who are very entertaining and they can attract a lot of people, and you know, there's also an element of business there, but with a big audience, people are claiming comes a big responsibility. And it seems that some of the creators at that level are ready to accept that and some aren't.
What is acceptable for education? What's acceptable for entertainment? And do the learners necessarily understand that line? Because a lot of the people they follow are entertainers more than educators, and maybe they don't know.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it's very difficult to draw the line there, I guess, because for every single person, and it depends on the attitude of the student. If student realizes that that's the video, I will watch it, I will find out some interesting content, I will find out some interesting pieces of vocabulary, of grammar, and then I'm going to practice it. Yeah, sure, why not? I guess this is very close to education, right? We can, yeah, we can. But if someone tells you that due to this video, you're going to speak English like at this level, for example, due to this course, but then he gives nothing in return, so you don't have any practice there. He doesn't give you the full, like a lot of tools to develop your skills. I think that's mostly entertainment.
Okay.
When you just watch it, you feel fine.
A lot of marketing kind of works like that, though, right? They say,
Mhm.
We're going to help you solve this problem. Watch this video. They watch the video, and then at the end of the video, it says, now here are the resources that you need to do the thing, but you have to pay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
okay?
guess. Sure. Yeah, I guess why not? Yeah, why not? That's cool. That's cool. I can't draw the specific line there to say what is entertainment and what is education. I think that my videos, for example, when I was just started to record the videos, they are completely entertainment. I think that's a complete entertainment because I didn't give anything for them to practice. I just I record the video. It was funny. Maybe they took up something. Maybe not. I don't know. And it's not my responsibility there. It was free video. I gave it. They have fun. They had fun. That's it. So that's everything else is just up to you. And I guess but in the courses, I think that the criteria should be a little bit more strict there.